country has decided. First, as you know, our country has decided, with our two other brothers, Burkina Faso and Mali, to leave the Ecowas. This is an irreversible decision because it has been thought about for a long time. It is part of the process of reconquering our full and entire sovereignty, an indispensable condition for our security and for our development as part of the Sahel State Alliance. Also, it has the merit of having permanently removed all means and all legitimacy to wage war against us through the Ecowas, which has been instrumentalized and distorted for several years by these noble objectives. Nigerians, my dear compatriots, our founding fathers gave us the torch, and our generation has decided to fulfill its mission more than ever, so that this torch does not extinguish in our hands. The task is colossal. We all know it. But without any triumphalism, we can already rejoice in some structural accomplishments. What the Nigerian people have succeeded in since June 26, 2023, with the taking of power by the National Council for the Preservation of the Fatherland, is to inscribe our country in a new trajectory that this time is hopeful. What we have succeeded in is to send back from our country without hatred or violence the foreign forces that hinder our sovereignty and truly prevent our defense and security forces from ascending in power to effectively accomplish their mission. What we have succeeded in is to denounce all contracts, legislative texts, treaties, and unjust conventions that do not go in the direction of Niger's interests and that hinder the development of our country. This is a strong signal for all those who have the habit or the intention to dominate or plunder Niger that now our country will defend its interests without complacency. What we have succeeded in is the affirmation of our sovereignty on our long-spoiled and plundered natural resources by foreign powers and their local valleys. What we have succeeded in is the unity of our people on issues of national interest. From now on, all Nigerians look in the same direction, the one that preserves the superior interests of our country, La Boussanine. What we have succeeded in is to awaken the patriotism of Nigerians who have long been trampled by individuals in the service of personal interests or partisan and clannish or worse, to the pay of mafia organizations or foreign powers. What we have succeeded in is the sincere support of the population to the governments that are now working to keep the country on the path of development. What we have succeeded in is to prove that Niger can stand up, bravely face terrorism, pay its officials, ensure its spending of sovereignty in a general way, in short, live without the so-called assault, which is often used to threaten or humiliate Nigerians. What we have succeeded in together is that for the first time in the history of our country, the decisions that engage Niger and its people are made in Niger by Nigerians and in the interest of Niger and nowhere else. This is what has allowed us, in all responsibility, and despite the difficult context that we know, to take symbolic and strong social measures which are, among other things, the decrease in the price of hydrocarbons pumps, the decrease in the cost of certain medical and surgical procedures, and the decrease in the price of cement. Nigerians, my dear compatriots, these successes are encouraging. However, they must be inscribed not only in the duration, but also in a global and coherent vision to truly found a political and social project. To do this, we have two great approaches at the national and international level. At the international level, we have created an alliance with countries with which we have the same history, the same trajectory, the same challenges, the same peoples and the same aspirations. The alliance of the states of the Sahel, which unites us with Burkina Faso and Mali, two brotherly countries who are resolutely on our side. This alliance, which has evolved into an AES confederation since the historic summit of Niamey on June 6, 2024, and which has a vocation in the near future to transform into a federation, God willing, will allow us to secure our common space and truly encourage us on the path of development. Then, we have decided to diversify our partners and to now register our diplomatic relations in the principle of mutual respect, equality, sovereignty, sincere, balanced and winning partnership that takes into account the interests of our country. It is certainly the place to thank, on behalf of the Nigerian people, friendly and brotherly countries that have shown understanding and sincere friendship with Nigeria in this difficult time that we are living. Without citing them, they will all recognize themselves and know that they can also count on Nigeria. At the national level, I have defined a strategic framework of governance for the transition entitled for Nigeria, La Busanino Zintiang Asani, which is divided into 4 axes. Axe 1, strengthening security and social cohesion. Axe 2, promoting good governance. Axe 3, the development of production bases for economic sovereignty. Axe 4, the acceleration of social reforms. On the other hand, I have drafted a letter of mission for the members of the government. Each ministerial department will take into account the moment of the execution of the missions entrusted to it and the consequences of it. This is our responsibility. It is our sacred duty to repay the Nigerian people in any state of cause. At one time or another, everyone will realize their actions before the people, before history, and before its creator. This is also true for the rulers, for the public agents, the fathers of families, and every citizen. Nigerians, my dear compatriots, to conclude, I would like to mention 3 topical issues of national and international interest. First, as you know, our country has decided, with our 2 other brothers, Burkina Faso and Mali, to leave the Ecowas. This is an irreversible decision because it has been thought about for a long time. It is part of the process of reconquering our full and entire sovereignty. an indispensable condition for our security and for our development as part of the Sahel State Alliance. Also, it has the merit of having permanently removed all means and all legitimacy to wage war against us through the Ecowas, which has been instrumentalized and distorted for several years by these noble objectives. I would therefore like to reassure all Nigerians, and beyond all our members of the AES Confederation, that leaving the Ecowas will not cause chaos for our countries and their nationals. Niger and our confederation will continue to maintain good relations, neighborhood and cooperation with all the countries of our West African region, as is the case with the 42 other African countries members of the African Union, and the several 180 countries members of the United Nations and Peace and Justice Organization. In any case, I would like to reassure our members of the Confederation that all measures will be taken to prevent any eventuality. My dear compatriots, the time has certainly come to entertain you solemnly with the cynical strategy put in place by our enemies to put our country on its knees and submit it. First, in the face of surprise and anger, our enemies, as you know, have decided an unprecedented and inhuman embargo against the Nigerian people to give their military aggression against our country every chance to succeed. The rest of the events are well known to all. Our great people, supported by its brothers from Burkina and Mali, have been victorious in facing them with dignity, resilience, and determination. In the face of their failure, instead of engaging in the history march in the Sahel, taking part in our political choice, our enemies, nostalgic for their position of neo-colonial power, and determined to defend their interests, have elaborated with the complicity of certain Nigerians and renegade Africans a new methodical approach articulated around the following actions. First, a Bedouin cabal organized against Niger, its brother countries, and their leaders at all levels. Second, a Machiavellian approach to stop the cohesion between the members of the National Council for the safeguarding of the country, on the one hand, and on the other, between the CNSP and its government, with the complicity of certain Nigerians. Third, a diplomatic campaign with all countries and other sub-regional, regional, and international institutions to demonize and isolate our country. Fourth, a financial and economic war to suffocate our country, while taking care to formally announce the lifting of the embargo. Fifth, actions aimed at agitating the social front with the complicity of some political actors and civil society. Sixth, actions aimed at dividing our people and pushing certain communities to rebel against the authority of the state. Seventh, the installation of military bases, of mixed units of destabilization, and of intelligence cells in some of our neighboring countries, in a sordid strategy of encircling Niger and the countries of the Confederation to keep us permanently under security pressure. Eighth, finally, the training, the information, the financial and material support to terrorist groups, as well as their training and support on the ground of operations. Nigerians, my dear compatriots, as you can see, those who fight us for our political choices have just changed their methods. They continue, through their perfidious and subversive actions, to truly wage war against us. It is time to pay a vibrant tribute to our forces of defense and security, who often, at the cost of the supreme sacrifice, protect the integrity of our territory and ensure the security and stability of our country. It is time to pay a vibrant tribute to their widows and orphans, who find here the expression of our compassion and our total support. It is also time to pay a vibrant tribute to all of the Nigerian people, our fellow citizens of the cities, the countryside, and the diaspora. I am here to tell you that I know what you are going through in terms of deprivation and expensive lives. I know the sacrifices you are making for our dignity, for the sovereignty of our country, and for our dear country, Niger, to remain standing in independence. I salute your resilience, your courage in the trials, your patriotism, and your sense of history. You have decided that it is better to have dignity in suffering, in comfort, in service. Besides, the numerous contributions of the citizens to the Solidarity Fund for the safeguarding of the country despite the difficulties of the moment, they are the brightest signs. They are the proof of our collective commitment to do what we can for our country. It is your new state of mind that I salute, and for which the country is eternally grateful to you. I want to assure you that your commitment and your efforts are beginning to bear fruit. The fruit of the dignity and sovereignty found in a new Niger, in which Nigerians are masters of their destiny. For my part, I want to reiterate my solemn oath to never betray your aspirations and to work with you together to achieve our common objectives of independence, peace, security, and progress for the happiness of all. Nigerians, my dear compatriots, this 66th anniversary is the occasion to take a vibrant tribute to the founding fathers of our republic, who have accomplished the mission of their time with the means at their disposal. However, it is necessary to recognize that for many reasons, including the neo-colonial coercion that heavily limited the scope of our country's maneuvers, but also the voluntary and zealous subjection of some of our leaders, true sovereignty is to be conquered. After 66 years, the battle for the effectiveness of our state remains entirely to be fought. However, in the same way that there could not exist a true state without sovereignty, there could not be a development without a sovereign state. Only a sovereign state can develop. There is no historical precedent of a state under domination that has succeeded in developing itself. The second topic I would like to address with you, dear compatriots, is the importance of winter campaigns. Indeed, as you know, this year Allah has rewarded us with a fruitful winter. The rains have been abundant. Also, they have certainly caused significant material damage and burdened our women. As a result, I have a pious thought for our missing and saluted efforts. Of all those who have supported us to face the emergency, and in particular, the National Committee, which has shown that Niger is sovereign enough to manage such a situation. But these rains have above all allowed us to harvest abundant crops. Therefore, I invite all the competent services of the state and all Nigerians to learn from this winter campaign, so that the rains in our arid Sahel are no longer synonymous with floods, destruction, desolation, and death, because they are a great blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as translated so well by the Hausa adage, which says, on the other hand, I call for a rigorous and responsible management of the benefits of this winter campaign by preserving our firewood and by managing our crops as a good family that we should all be. Finally, I invite all Nigerians to start spreading false, defamatory, and hateful messages on the media and other social networks. They are contrary to our traditional and religious beliefs. They participate in distracting us to keep us away from the real public debate on our vital and strategic interests, at a time when we are truly at war against our enemies who are trying by all means to deprive us of our living together, to prevent our resolute march towards progress. It is time to be vigilant to stop the campaign of intoxication and disinformation by the sponsors of terrorism in the Sahel, to stop the morale of our troops incited by ethnic hatred, and to break our social cohesion inherited from our ancestors. Nigerians, my dear compatriots, at the end of my speech, I want to pay a sincere and deserved tribute to all those who have mobilized and continue to mobilize to defend our dignity and sovereignty. It is on your firm commitment that the success of our projects for Nigeria is assured. I pray to Allah, the Creator and the Merciful, that He grants His eternal paradise to our brothers and sisters, both military and civilians, victims of terrorism, and wishes a prompt recovery to the wounded. To all of you, know that your sacrifices and your efforts will not be in vain. Nigeria is on the right track of progress for all its sons. I also invite each Nigerian to forge the intimate conviction that Nigeria is our common good. It belongs to all of us, and not to any foreign power, or to any regional or international organization. It therefore belongs to us, Nigerians, and to no other individual, country or organization, not only to protect our country for the ICO at the level of a prosperous country, but also to draw the determination not to give in to any threat, no injunction, wherever it may come from. Let us therefore firmly integrate that Nigeria, the land of our ancestors, is eternal, and that their difficulties are necessarily temporary. Their intrigues, their worries, in the hope that the Confederation will collapse in the coming months, as well as their satanic plans of destabilization, will undoubtedly fail, God willing, in the face of our determination and with the help of Allah. Finally, I would like, at this moment when the Nigerian look is turned towards the competition of our traditional struggle, which is at its 45th edition, to wish a beautiful Koko Galgatzia to all, that the best wins and that the Nigerian fraternize in their cultural diversity and security. This is how Nigeria will win. Long live the Republic. Long live the National Council for the Preservation of the Homeland and its government. Long live the united and committed people for its sovereignty. Long live the Confederation Alliance for the State of the Sahel. Long live Nigeria. Thank you.